Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. I am so glad that you are here. We are on the road to 1 million downloads. We are almost there. Thank you so much, listeners. Thank you so much, viewers, for helping us along on this journey. We are so excited to have you. We love you. We appreciate you. You know we do. And we are continuing the Year of the Sphere series. So this is the year of your sphere of influence. You are going to reconnect and connect with your sphere of influence more than ever before, and we're here to help you, guide you on that journey. Does that mean, how is the best way to help our sphere of influence? Does that mean that we have to hustle and grind to only find that we're going out of our mind? Is that what it takes? I don't think so. Are you on a roller coaster that is broke to burn out to broke? Are you on that roller coaster and ready to just get off that? Are you ready to go from success to significance? Today, we're going to dive deep with our guest on how that is not only possible, but maybe entirely plausible to the point where you could plan for it and you could expect it. How beautiful would that be? So I'm going to make you wait on that. I've got a big, huge shout out I've got to give real quick I got to give a shout out to the Generosity Generation. We just hit 11,000 members in our private client Gen Facebook group. 11,000 members. You can go, if you feel like you like what we're talking about here, you kind of enjoy the spirit of what we're all about, you want referrals, then go to joingengen.com. 1 out of every 3 who apply actually get accepted. I am sorry, but you've got to fill in a couple of questions. We do have some requirements to get in, but once you get in, I literally, right before recording this podcast, I literally placed a referral from Utah to North Carolina from, you got it, the Generosity Generation. Also, so much going on in February with the Year of the Sphere. Everybody wants a 7 levels mastery class on the book. We have 7 levels mastery. You can check it out at 7lmastery.com. And we have networking mastery class in February as well for those of you that are looking for networking. And you can go to networkingmasteryclass.com to check that out. You might as well sign up for Mastery Academy. That's masteryacademy.com. You can get both those classes for just $99. So under $100. You want to check it out. No contract. We believe we've got to prove it to you every single month. We'd love to do that. And speaking of things that we absolutely love to talk to and discover more, we have to truly introduce our guest today, and it is Erin Bradley. She is a speaker, trainer, best-selling author, host of the Pursuing Freedom podcast. Erin has lived the full entrepreneurial roller coaster from broke to burnout and discovered that overwhelm can be just as limiting as financial struggle. She redesigned her business around systems, scale, and fulfillment, and now teaches entrepreneurs how to build success without sacrificing their life. And I'm excited, truly excited, to have her today. Erin, welcome to the Referrals Podcast.
Thank you so much, Michael. This is such an honor. I'm having a little fangirl moment over here. It's funny, I picked up your book off the shelf earlier because I was trying to remember what year did I read it, because it was one of a few, along with The Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents, which I read 2 years later, that had a pivotal impact on the trajectory of my life and business. And I opened it up, and sure enough, it was signed by one of my best friends in the real estate space. And he wrote me a note and said, "I'm excited for you to read this. This is going to be the best year of your life." And it was December 1st, 2013. So
oh my gosh,
almost, over 12 years ago. And it was a real turning point for me there's parts of this book, Michael, that to this day, as a speaker and a coach, I've been quoting you now for over 12 years, and we've never even met. So like, what an honor to be here on the show with you. This is just so fun for me.
All right, everybody, that's our show. Thank you for tuning in. It doesn't get any better than that, so I'm not even going to try. That is, so I have to ask you, let's give a shout out. Like who was that gave you the book?
Well, I'm curious if you may have met him over the years because he's a powerhouse. His name is Ewan Graham, and he is from Scotland. So if you've met him, you don't forget him. And he's still selling real estate very successfully in Denver, Colorado, in the metro area of Denver, Colorado. Have you met him by chance?
I only briefly. He was in a line. I got to sign some books with him and that kind of thing. So I don't know him obviously like you do. So, but
Yeah.
what's interesting is I did remember. Like there
Yeah,
were 100 some people in line. He's a dynamic. He's memorable. I think that's a really good
100%.
way to put it. I have people come up to me sometimes when I'm like, they're like, "Do you remember me?" And I'm like, I mean, I meet 20,000 people a year. It's like, I'm sorry, but the other part of me is what Howard Brinton used to say. Howard Brinton had the best. I'm not strong enough to maybe like do what he did, but he would literally like somebody'd say, "Well, do you remember me?" And he was like, "No." And whose fault is that? I mean, like, bang. It's like, wow, but it has a lot of truth to it, but man, that's
Right?
brutal truth, you know?
So
So
good.
I love it. And I'm telling you, I love your content. I love where your heart is. The whole thing about having a business you don't have to take vacation from, that is money. Like that we've got to unpack that today. And I sometimes you get on a podcast and you tell the life story and things like that, and it's kind of interesting. That I tend to like cut to the chase, right? It's like let's go to the gold nuggets, and a lot of times that story kind of comes out in that. So, all right, you've talked openly about going from broke to burnout. For someone listening who feels busy and maybe even they feel successful on the outside, but overwhelmed on the inside, what does it mean to be surviving success?
Yeah, so I will share the beginning part of the broke because it's pretty funny. I mean, it's pathetic, but also kind of comical. And I mean, the gist of it is that I took the leap of faith to go 100% commission. And when you ask people why, most of us will respond with the word freedom somewhere in there. Like, we want some time
Mm.
freedom, we want some more financial freedom, we want freedom to travel, freedom to work from anywhere, but it's always like freedom and flexibility. And that was why I took the leap of faith. I was just this young, like, free spirit who had traveled a bunch and thought this is the life for me. And I was actually on the mortgage side of the business, but I took the leap of faith in '07, perfect timing. And
Oh
I
my
had,
God. Right
right,
before 2008. Ouch. Yeah.
right. And I had no financial safety net, no confidence in sales. Yes, I'm extroverted, but most of the training was just dreadful for me. It was like go into real estate offices with cookies and rate sheets and ask for leads, or like call 30 realtors every Monday and get them for a cup of coffee. And I just hated it. So, needless to say, I fell flat on my face. And by the summer of '08, I'm maxed out on all my credit cards and I get a referral. I'm so excited because I'm like, hopefully this paycheck can pay my mortgage, right? And so
Mm.
I had to ride my bike 5 miles across town in the middle of summer and figure out what I could wear to look professional on a bike. And I get there early to like let the sweat dry off. And unfortunately, the client got there early as well. And he introduces himself to me at the counter as my credit card's being declined for a $2 cup of coffee. And the
Oh
worst,
my gosh.
yeah, the worst part was that's the card I thought might work, really. And so I lied and I just said, that's so weird. It's my debit card. I'm going to have to call the bank. And he bought my coffee. And I'm just like, I'm mortified. And I call my dad for advice after the fact. And this all kind of plays into why your book was so pivotal many years later. I asked my dad for advice and he said, do you think you're going to be good at this someday, Erin? And I laugh now because I had no evidence to indicate that I would be. But I said, yes, I think I could be good at this. And he said, well, you have to do whatever it takes. And so I opened a
Mm.
credit card and I bought internet leads, whatever that means, in 2008. I hired a coach. Many will say I can't afford it. I would say I couldn't afford not to. And out of desperation, I just asked them to tell me what to do and I'll do it. And for years, I tried to fit this mold of, here I am, stressed out and desperate, and you're going to tell me what to do. And I'm going to make the calls and write the notes and see the people so I can get the leads and get the deals and get the money so I can feel okay. And while the framework is effective, there was something missing, and it's right behind you there. It's the heart, right? My authenticity, like everything I did was to solve my problem. And so it all felt so heavy and like an upstream battle as I would just power through the awkwardness to do the things to get, right? And in 2011, I read The Go-Giver. So I'm 4 years into the business and I read The Go-Giver, and it was a total paradigm shift for me because I recognized I had been a quintessential go-getter. And I realized that to be a resource to my clients, even when they don't need your services, that just was like a huge wake-up call for me because everything up until then was push marketing about me. And so I ended up developing a strategy around what does it really look like for me to replace that insecurity with curiosity, which is something you said in your book, and get to the bottom of what they need in their life today, assuming they don't need my services. Now there's no awkwardness. I'm not coming to get anything from you. I'm just coming to give value. And so my business more than doubled. And I started teaching real estate agents what I was doing. And I found out I wasn't alone. Like we all had the playbook, but the execution wasn't there because there was resistance. And it was that energy of self-serving. And so as we all started to get different results by reverse engineering the way we were showing up, my business exploded. And in 2012, I went from having averaged like 30 some transactions a year to doing nearly 80. And I had, like you mentioned earlier, I had not planned for this level of volume. I certainly didn't expect it. And so as a result, I just was drowning in it, like working 24/7, tethered to my phone. And the problem is I was pregnant with my second child. And she was born in November of 2012. And at this point, I was already ready to like throw in the towel. I'm like, I don't think I'm cut out for this because I'm exhausted and I'm becoming a shell of myself as a human. I started selling skincare, and I always joke that I'm like a dude in a girl's body, so I shouldn't be selling makeup or anything. But so my friends were having interventions with me as I'm trying to do like multi-level marketing makeup parties or something. Anyway, long story short, I went to a company meeting at the end of November, and I'm about to deliver my second child, and I'm asking the people at my office, my colleagues, how are you doing it? Because if I closed the year at like 20 million in volume, they had done 30 million and their kids were a little older. So I was dead serious. Like, tell me how you're doing this because I am barely surviving. And they all admitted that after they put their kids to bed, they work until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. And that was the moment where I just thought I should probably just quit the business because I have no reason to aspire for growth. And luckily in 2013, someone encouraged me not to quit, but to seek help and to start to learn how to scale the business. And so I started scaling in 2014. I hired more coaches to help me through the trenches of doing so. And along that journey in 2013, I was given your book, and there was just so much gold in this. And all it did was affirm. It really was like, it was a next level affirmation. And then there was the applicable strategy of you being an actual real estate professional, and I believe also a go-giver, right? And everything that I learned from your book, the networking stack, that was a game changer for me because I went from running around like a chicken with my head cut off to having all my appointments on Tuesdays and Thursdays and being strategic and introducing service providers that need to know each other and just having a blast. And the business just continued to grow from there. And so it was that whole feeling of like, I didn't feel the freedom and flexibility when I was having my credit card declined for a $2 cup of coffee. And I didn't feel the freedom and flexibility when I just kept telling my loved ones, like, sorry, just real quick, like just exhausted. And so luckily, thanks to the mentorship around scaling the business, I found that path to decision making, really like deciding on how I want to run a business that fits into my family lifestyle and my travel goals and all that. And I started teaching real estate agents what I was doing. And all of that led to publishing the book, Pursuing Freedom, and then later the podcast, which you're going to be on soon, which I'm so excited about. So that's kind of a long answer to a short question, but there it
No,
is.
but
Yeah.
it says it all, because you started it with broke and you went to burnout, and you talked about, like, you, in the eyes of the world, you were a success, but you
Yeah.
were literally just surviving success. You were just barely hanging on. Like I said earlier, right? It's like the year of the sphere. How can we help people and how can we help ourselves and stuff? Like, we might think it's hustle and grind, to only find you're going out of your mind. Right. And that's like, we need to understand, like, that's not the solution. And the
Yeah.
solution is systems and scale in alignment with what fulfills you. And I absolutely love that. It's just one of those where it's like, I have to ask, like, you talk about, making a conscious decision to redesign your business, and not only your business, but your life and the fulfillment and that kind of thing. What changed before and after you put real systems and scale in place? I don't necessarily need the before,
Yeah.
but you got to realize, Erin, you've hit on something that, especially extroverts, no offense to extroverts, they think they can socialize through anything, right?
Hmm.
And you're saying that the answer is systems and scale. Those are not sexy words. Now, I happen to find them very sexy words. The sexy words are marketing and sales. And now it's a little bit AI, right? But the thing is you're saying systems and scale. So what changed after you made this conscious decision?
Well, it's funny that you say that about that not being sexy, because I definitely resisted systems and structure. I thought structure sounded suffocating. I was this free spirit. I
It's
just
not
wanted to,
freedom. That's not
no,
freedom,
no,
right? That's not
no.
freedom. You're pursuing freedom. It's like, no, what? You mean confinement? You mean structure? You
Yeah.
mean the cage of my own making, right? So,
Yeah, 100%. So it's, in hindsight, I know now that the structure is liberating, right? The first thing that happened was I hired one of my best friends, and it was the summer of 2014. And my number one fear came true. Within 90 days of onboarding and training, I wasn't focused on business development, and the pipeline dried up. And I'll never forget it. It was August of 2014. We had two closings. It's like, okay, who do I think I am? I don't think I need a full-time assistant. And I hear this all the time, right? People are afraid of what happens if the business goes down. I'm like, well, your business is going down anyway because you've been on this roller coaster of feast or famine. So I looked at her, I said, okay, let me go do what I love to do and just apply the same strategy that I developed in 2011 that was enhanced by the 7 levels of communication. And by December of 2014, we had 12 closings in 1 month, which was interesting because it debunked the myth that business is always slow in the winter. And I do live in Colorado,
yeah.
so we have a real winter. And it was interesting because I could be a witness to the fact that I got fired up in September. And within 90 days, 90 to 120 days, we went from 2 closings a month to 12 closings a month. And it had nothing to do with the season. So as we rolled into 2015, we had 8 closings in January of 2015. I had never had a closing ever in January because I was always
Yeah.
out of steam by the fourth quarter. So that
Yeah.
was another like, whoa. And then by March, we had 17 closings, and that really crumbled the two of us. So we experienced the burnout again, but it was also the light bulb, right? Like I had been the bottleneck for 7 years inside my business. And by learning to make decisions to eliminate or to graduate from certain responsibilities, even though I could do it, like there's a saying, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think that we need to be paying more attention to how we feel energetically with everything we do, right? And how many unchecked boxes, how much procrastination, how much resistance, how much energy drain just thinking about doing something that you don't feel like doing. And then if you can train somebody else to do it, you get to get your first ROI is relief. Like, holy shit, excuse my French, but things are getting done and I don't have
Yeah.
to do it. Wow, I love this, right? And then
And they love to do it. And
yes,
they love to do it. That's what's
yeah,
crazy. It's just
yes.
like, not only like are they doing it, but they actually are enjoying it. Whereas it's an energy sucker, a toxic action on our behalf, but for them, it's fulfilling. They love to do it.
Yes.
I mean, like organizing papers, like people, like when it's all complete and perfect, they're like, like, oh my God, paperwork is toxic. Like, keep me away from the paperwork. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. All right. So
Yeah.
I
So it's
have people are going to ask, I'm going to ask, all right, is the fall of 2014, the fall of 2014, what were you doing? What made you refocus to supercharge your business so that you finished 2014 and started 2015 with such a rush? Like, was it a conscious decision? Was it a, what did you double down on? What did you go 100% on?
yeah. So well, like I said earlier, the first thing that happens is relief, right? And relief translates to energy. And I genuinely believe that our energy is our currency. And it's the one thing that
Mm-hmm.
AI can't replace in the future. Like
Mm-hmm.
our energy, our vibe is the magnet. And I had been suffocating that light within me for so many years, making excuses for why I couldn't, which was really just fear. And now I had my energy back, and I had a friend on board who I love dearly. And I felt like, let's do this. I really want this to be successful for her too. So I started doing what I always do, which is I am always working on building the old school yellow pages, the resources for my clients when they don't need my services. And the way in which I build that directory, or like the Rolodex, is actually to leverage my existing relationships. So I always organize my database based on more like community than database. So like I'd like taking the transactional words out of it, because that's what creates the resistance and makes it feel like self-serving. So when I think about my community, I like to think about the people that energize me. And I just call them and say, hey, I'm working on a project for 2015 or 2026, right? And I'm working on rebuilding my resource directory because I want you to call me when you need anything, not just real estate. And I have a gap in my directory for fill in the blanks. And based on what I know about them, like if they're in the health and wellness industry, it's a massage therapist. I might ask for a referral for an acupuncturist. If they're in finance, I might ask for a referral for an estate attorney or a financial advisor or a CPA or whatever. So based on what I know about them, I'm going to ask them to connect me to the other business professionals that they use and refer. And when they make that introduction and I'm meeting potential people from my tribe, I'm just coming at it from a perspective of, hey, so and so says you're amazing. As a real estate professional, my clients are always coming to me for referrals because I market myself as a resource before, during, and long after closing. And I have a gap in my directory for a good fill in the blanks roofer. I'd love to get to know you a little bit, learn about your business, and see if I can't support you. Now, a lot of people will start down this process and they quickly get discouraged because the roofer never calls them back. And I'm like, no big deal. One of the best pieces of advice I got from a coach was the 25% rule. 25% of people will love you no matter what, and you probably know who they
Mm-hmm.
are. 20% never will, no matter what, and you probably know who they are too. And then the 50% in between are either fair weather friends or they haven't met you yet. But that means that really, if we want to build a business that we love, that energizes our life, we're looking for 1 out of 4 people. Same goes for the people I hire, same goes for the people I refer business to and who refer me back, which means that I'm not going to get disappointed if someone doesn't pick me or doesn't respond. That to me is an indication they don't belong in my directory. They're not the right fit. So I
Mm-hmm.
just keep going until I find a roofer that is aligned, that is hungry, growth oriented, referral based business. They care about customer service. And I ask them questions like, where does your business come from? And what was interesting along these lines, and again, what I loved about your book is that you speak to something that is not spoken about enough in our industry, which is that so many real estate professionals have what they call a vendor list. They have a list of people that's their vendor list, but I don't like that word because there's no relationship
Mm-hmm.
there. And there's this
Mm-hmm.
underlying frustration around lack of reciprocity. And I always challenge
Mm-hmm.
them to say, well, what do you know about them as a person? Do you know anything about their goals, their family, how they got into this business? And as you get to know them at a deeper level and they become a friendship, you look for reasons to be a resource to them too. So It's all
Okay.
about the go-giver. So with every interaction, it was like, I got to find a way to be a resource to this person. Maybe it's giving them a copy of your book, right? Maybe it's teaching them the process that I developed on the heels of reading The Go-Giver. And as we started talking about it, like the photographer would deliver photos to the newborn, wedding, and family that she did the photos for. And then she'd say, this may sound strange, but I'm more than just a photographer. If you ever want to buy a new house, you need a referral for a real estate agent, a mortgage lender, just reach out to me. I have tons of resources in my network. And before long, she became one of our top referral partners because her target market was the same as ours. Newborns, weddings, families, these are people that are going to be in transition. So it was like the light bulb came on. Like, just go above and beyond with every interaction that feels aligned for you. Don't force it. Don't fake it. Don't think fingers crossed I get something from this. Just if it feels energizing, find a way to be a resource. And that impact is what's going to get them talking about you at the dinner table and at the office. And the ripple effect is what we can't see and what we don't have to worry about because it'll take care of itself. And it works in every market.
Mm-hmm. You're spilling gold nuggets. Like this is incredible. Like you're awesome. Like this is brilliant. This is genius. This is from such a good place that it's exciting to me. It's one of those where I just love everything about it. And like, there's so many gurus that are like saying, to sell more, you got to hustle harder, right? And like from your perspective, what's the biggest problem with like most of that sales training that is out there that when it comes to long-term freedom, like what do most sales trainers get wrong and like what have you found and discovered that is more the right way? Because it sounds like the light has, I mean, not sounds like the light has come on inside of you. You are a lighthouse, right?
That's the word. That's
So
the
so
word.
yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that. Talk to me about that in contrast to what, the hustle more and grind more sales trainers get wrong.
Yeah. So first, I want to say that I've attended all the sales trainings, and I will say this. One of the reasons I found so much joy in your books and The Miracle Morning changed my life in 2015 because my same friend Ewan gave it to me around that time that we had the 17 closings in 1 month. And when I tell you that my friend and I were drowning, I mean, it was compromising our health. It was like we were in the trenches when that was happening. And it was also a wake-up call that we just need to get more help and we need to strengthen this foundation because I look back to how I built my business in the early years, and it's like throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. And stuff sticks eventually if you don't quit, right? But it's like building a house on a faulty foundation. And the more you throw on it, the more it starts to implode. And so sometimes you got to slow down to build the foundation stronger. And so, with that being said, he gave me your book, The Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents. And I was so overwhelmed and struggling with anxiety for the first time in my life. And my kids were toddlers. And to think about getting up earlier, I was like, I hate you.
Yeah.
Don't give me this
Forget
book right
that.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
who do you
Yeah.
think you're talking to? I'm not waking up earlier, right? My kids wake me up
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, I did it anyway, and it changed my life. And the reason I'm bringing that into the answer to your question is because I started waking up before my kids, and I feel that the long answer to your question has to do with this, right? Fundamentally, I read every book that was written for real estate agents as a mortgage lender so I could understand how to be a resource to my referral partners. I didn't want to come from a place of needing something from them. I wanted to lead with value all the time. So I was devouring real estate podcasts and real estate books and then we got to do this and have you thought about this, right? And so their sales trainings I think are useful. The thing that I think keeps people from consistent execution is that we start from our fear. So oftentimes we're feeling overwhelmed. We're stressed out about our pipeline. Many people have had declines in their business in recent years. And from that place of, I have a problem to solve, I want to get the sales trainer's playbook. And I think that if I just take enough action, if I just hustle harder, that action will be the band-aid to my feelings of lack. And so I
Mm,
jump into action, but I'm not okay, right? And so I think
mm,
that the power of the miracle morning and any morning routine is understanding that we are emotional beings and we are energetic beings. And when we wake up in the morning, our old fears and outdated programming is like a tape on repeat the moment we become conscious. And myself included, like, what do I need to do today? I have so much to do, not enough hours in the day. Like, I got to get up and hurry up.
mm,
We've been trained since
mm,
preschool to get up and hurry
mm,
up. But as a business owner, I think that's probably the worst thing we could do. And learning
mm,
to evaluate, where am I right now on the energetic and emotional scale? Because every human being experiences fear, uncertainty, anxiety, overwhelm, frustration, anger. That's the negative side, right? And so we can't activate from that place and expect it to feel good, like have a good time doing
mm,
it. So I tend to my frequency first through
mm,
reading, meditation, listening to a podcast, whatever it takes, journaling, looking at my goals. And personally, one of the rules I made for myself in my schedule was no more appointments before 10 a.m. I used to say yes
mm,
to everybody else's agenda. So I was allowing
mhm,
my attention, my energy, and in some cases, my emotions to be hijacked by the external world before I had checked in with myself to calibrate. So once I calibrate, which comes from a place of just recognizing how far you've come, looking at all the
mm,
relationships in your life from the past few years that are great, and realizing those new relationships didn't come from your hustle. They came unscripted because you were in a moment where the stars aligned or the paths crossed. Most of it is unscripted and it shows up when we're feeling great, out of the blue, it seems. But I believe we can curate that energy and we can become the lighthouse in the storm by tending to this light within us. So there's work there. Like, I don't wake up sunshine and rainbows, and none of us do, not every day.
no.
And so we got to choose the energy we want to bring into the world. And by tuning to that like an instrument, you have to tune the guitar every time you play it. We have to tune ourselves before we share our energy with the external world. And so, with that work in the morning, I move along the scale to gratitude, to, hey, I've come a long way. I've overcome adversity before. Even if I'm in a valley right now, I know I'm still at a higher elevation than when I started. I have the tools to shift. And I get myself into a place of peace, even before the circumstances have changed. And from there, I get really quiet and I try to listen for impulses. And I like to act on the ideas that come to me with no agenda, no attachment. You said something in your book that has stuck with me ever since, which is that if you're still having call resistance, it means you're
Mm,
thinking too much about yourself. That was like such a game changer for me because, when we think about calling that past client and maybe we've lost touch and it's been 3 years. So we're thinking to ourselves, well, they don't need to buy or sell right now. And I don't want to bother them. And I don't want them to think I'm salesy and all this other stuff. And I always say that's a you problem. One
that's
thing
right.
is for sure, if they woke up at 3 in the morning last night, they definitely weren't thinking about your pipeline,
That's
right?
right. That's right. That's right.
But they were thinking about something, whatever they're excited about, whatever they're worried about, what they're working on. So take that curiosity to be a resource. And that's the purpose of your call. Like, replace that fear with love. If you love this
Hmm.
person, then shame on you for getting paid a paycheck and then losing touch with them. And there's nothing wrong with re-engaging because you care. It's
That's right.
sincere. And nobody ever judges you for being like, holy cow, your name just popped up. It's been 3 years. I haven't talked to you in so long. I'm so sorry I lost touch. I
Hmm.
miss you. Or even like I heard some lady on a podcast say, call your favorite clients, and you were the first person who came to mind. That's
Boom.
loving, right?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
it. Like,
Yep.
love is the compass, joy is the compass, contribution, money's the byproduct. And
Hmm.
we get so bottled up with what we're supposed to do so that we can get the lead, so we can get the money. And that when we get the money, we're going to give ourselves permission to feel peaceful and present. I like to reverse engineer that.
You nailed it. Like, I have to tell you, like, you literally summarized the power of taking control in the morning ritual and the miracle morning, as well as anybody I've ever heard. And you say tend and tune your frequency. Take care of your frequency first. And we have, a COI acronym, FLY, which is first love yourself, first lead yourself, right? And we really do need to do that. But where you gave a real lesson that with all the gold nuggets you're dropping here, they may have missed. And like one of them was no appointments before 10 a.m. I have the same schedule. I have no appointments before 10 a.m. because I want to tend to my frequency and I want to get tuned in and I want to, like, I have me stuff that I'm doing. Now, some of the me stuff does have some outreach to it, but it's not incoming, right? And what I love is that how you people are going to go, well, how do I tend and tune my frequency? And you calibrate and celebrate, right? You calibrate with like good stuff, positive stuff, and then you tie it to yourself, which is celebrate. And the celebrate is, okay, well, where were my successes? What do I love? Where do I find joy? What do I love to do? And so that's how you tune into your frequency. You said love is the compass, right? Love is the highest frequency. Love, like love, joy, appreciation, generosity, they're the highest frequencies. So if you want to tune into a higher frequency, then find the love, and it just, I mean, there's so many things that I mean, I haven't written, I have 3 pages of notes, Erin, 3 pages of not just notes. I'm gonna read some of this for the viewers and they can catch a breath and catch up. Is I am the bottleneck. Hire a salesperson. Energy is our currency. There were things that were suffocating my light. I don't believe in calling it a database. I believe in calling it a community. And I started with the people who energize me. And you don't know this, but we're teaching Event Mastery VIP edition right now, which is to identify the people who energize you and put them in a room. Which is an event, right? I mean, and then 1 out of every 4, the 25% rule, lock out the naysayers and talk about the go-giver and the process and planning. And I mean, like, love is the compass. And then just like all of this great stuff that is motivational and inspirational. And you've really discovered, like, the passion's coming out of you. That's what the love, you are in love. I have this saying that it is literally I think it's my Facebook profile right now, is be love, do generosity, have prosperity. And like you said, the tuning into the love leads to prosperity. Money is the byproduct. Sales are the byproduct to tuning. The first thing is to be love. And that's like literally, I mean, like, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing your light. I'm not just seeing Erin Bradley in front of me. I'm seeing your light. I see you, right? I mean, three pages here of amazing stuff. And all right, so something that I know I'm going to be asked about, and honestly, it's one of my biggest curiosities about you, is this whole concept of planning for success. Planning for success. The first chapter in Event Mastery, VIP edition, is, I quote Zig Ziglar, one of my mentors, my 3 mentors. And he always said, right, failing to plan is planning to fail. And we don't want to do that. So planning mastery, the motto or slogan or tagline for planning mastery is the success is in the planning. So we want to plan for success. So what does it actually mean to literally plan success and expect success? And how does that help someone maybe double their business without doubling the amount of hours, right? I'm guessing you don't mean planning your success means working twice as much.
No, it's actually the art of subtraction for sure. So the key is, there's a twofold answer here. Number one is I do an activity for myself and I talk about it on stages, and then I catch myself not taking my own advice, right? We all do that. And the process is to fill in the blanks. I wish I could. Okay.
Mm.
And I wish I could what? And so I was on a coaching call in 2015, not long after I had read The Miracle Morning. I finally hired the coach. And that's part of planning for success, right? Is like, I know that if I want to experience a different reality, I've got to get in the room with people that remind me of my future. I've got to hang around people that can see what I can't see, which is my blind spots, right? And so I'm a huge proponent of finding mentors, masterminds, getting in the room, going to the conferences, investing in yourself. And it's scary to invest in yourself. You want to wait until you have the evidence, but you have to choose the belief before you have the evidence, because the belief is what dictates your decisions. So when we get in the room with people that are either on the same journey or they're where we want to be, or they've been where we're trying to go, there's something that happens where you start to be able to borrow their belief. Like, hang on a second, he just did that. He just invested in himself. He just hired that assistant. And he seems to be better. Maybe I can do it too, right? Or you borrow the belief a mentor sees in you. Like, they call you out on your stuff, right? So that was a key piece of it. But my coach said, like, tell me about your pipe dream. And I said, well, it's on our 10-year vision to buy a place in the mountains. We lived in Denver, so we wanted a little ski condo. He says, why not now? I'm like, I hadn't even thought about that. I guess we could, right? So we had a couple rental properties. We decided we'll figure it out. We buy a little 70s time capsule in the ski town of Winter Park. And, it's $195,000, wooden toilet seats, wood paneling, the whole thing. We loved it. We were there every weekend. And so then it was like, I wish we could live there full time. Maybe we'll move there when the kids grow up. But our oldest was in kindergarten at this point. So I remember sitting down with my husband saying, like, well, I can't because my business is in Denver, and we can't because of this, right? So there's a process here. I wish I could fill in the blanks. Then the word but shows up. I wish I could live in the mountains, but I can't because whatever follows but is fear. So before you can plan for success, you have to tap into the desire in your heart and then listen as your brain activates with fear to quiet that pipe dream that seems so unrealistic or maybe even irresponsible. Get intimate with the fear that comes after but. And then when you say, I can't because, all you're doing is defending. You're defending the limitation of your mind just because you don't know how. So the next question becomes, it's more like a statement. I wonder if. So if we were going to do that, what would that look like? And now we're starting to plan for a possibility that's outside the realm of probability because it doesn't seem realistic, right? I was sure that moving to this ski town would compromise my business. So we came for the summer of 2016, and I would just reverse commute back to Denver a bunch to show face and do all my meetings and my networking stack and everything. And I moved my networking stack from Tuesday and Thursday to Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'd stay the night. And then I got tired of that. So I opened an office here, and it ended up doubling our business. So fear was a liar. So the point is that before you can prepare for it, you have to tap into the possibility of it even before you have the evidence that it's going to work out for you, because that's the number one thing that keeps us from saying yes to our future self. We want to connect all the dots looking forward. There was no way I could have connected those dots. I didn't know that I'd have an office in that spot, or that I'd become friends with so many amazing real estate agents, or that we would do business on the slopes and talk shop on the lift and ski down and talk shop on the lift and ski down. And, so like your life changes the moment you commit to a pipe dream before you know how. And then in terms of planning, the hardest part of all is that you have to invest in a stronger foundation to hold a bigger structure. You have to be willing to expand the vessel to allow in more light. And that's the part that is the mindset stuff. And the only way to get over that for me, again, is to hang around the people that are doing it until my belief changes, or I do it before I believe it, and then I'm blown away. And time and again since then, like 2020, we did a 6-month RV road trip and homeschooled our kids. And I fired myself from a lot inside of the operations of my business because we were going to homeschool, run a mortgage business, run a podcast, a coaching business, all the things in a tiny little RV. And I thought, this is going to compromise the business for sure. But if not now, when, right? And sure, you could say it was raining business, but I was only working 15 to 20 hours a week in the business, and we had a 50% growth that year. So all my fears have been unfounded again and again and again. And so we just have to be okay with the fact that fear is part of being human. We don't have to judge it,
Mm-hmm.
but we should get curious about it because it's stifling our ability to live the most fulfilling life. And I've found that there's just no real rules. And if we're going to be self-employed and we know this isn't the easy route, like that's for sure, right? We know this isn't the easy route. So if we're going to do it, then don't just suck it up and tolerate. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I have to, I should, I need to. That sounds like you're outsourcing your power to some external forces. You get to decide and you get to make new decisions with new stages of your life. Like, you're ready right now to make decisions that feel aligned with your priorities. And it's scary and it's hard and it's worth it because we're not going to do this sacrifice of being self-employed and all this uncertainty if we're not going to freaking love it. So like, I just want to F around and get paid. Like, I want to have more fun than I've ever had and keep exploring what that means for me. And sometimes that fun, it can be like a trigger word for somebody because they've postponed it for so long. But honestly,
Mm-hmm.
it's the reason why when you go on vacation, your phone rings. That's vacation energy. It's the moment you try to not think about work, when you let your light shine bright, when you're just having fun with your friends and family. The version of you that shows up and celebrates with your loved ones or mourns with them, that's you. Like, that's your soul and that's your brand. And if we could just stop dimming the light with what we think we should be doing to get where we need to go so that we can someday feel what we're after, and just get into feeling good and come from a place of love and really just, like, I don't know, just lighten up, like, genuinely,
Mm-hmm.
like, turn
Yeah.
the light on within you, but also like lighten up a little bit. You might be so surprised by how quickly you can transform your results by prioritizing you and how you show up and how you make people feel. And that is the brand. And it's going to become more and more important as we move into the future of real estate because this is the stuff AI just cannot replace.
Mm. You have a mic in front of you? Because you should just knock
Yes.
it over. You should just drop your mic. That's like you are like, I feel like this should have just been a solo cast. I should have just like literally teed it up, and like I'm sitting here ready to run through a brick wall. I'm like, I'm so motivated and inspired by you. I love the lighten up. I love that, like, you hit it on the head. It's just lighten up. And you know what? Lighten up. Like, that makes a lot of sense, and it hits home. Um, how can people get more of you? They're going to listen to this. They're going to want more of you. I want more of you. What are you talking about? We got to bring you back, right? But it's like, what's
You're
their
right.
next
Like,
step?
Michael, I don't know if you know this, but words of affirmation are my love language. You just made me cry for the second time. I
uh,
really appreciate
that
the kind words.
Well, I didn't, but I mean, it's just the truth. I wasn't using them as words of affirmation. I literally was spouting what everybody listening is feeling, and I'm feeling, honestly. I don't care what they're feeling. I know I'm feeling that way. But I no, I'm just saying, like, where the thing is you're like, I talk to a lot of people, and in many cases they're passionate, but it's like they're passionate about a street that's not theirs, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like
Yes.
you're passionate about a street that is yours. Like, you've owned it, you're on it. It's uniquely yours, and you love it, and you love being on it, and you don't care what anybody else thinks. You're going to drive, and you're going to let your life. I mean, it really is I mean, I use this in the book, right? Is the lighthouse metaphor, which is, a lighthouse doesn't run up and down the beach like me, love me, use me, I'm me, look at me, right? A lighthouse stands strong and tall, letting its light shine for anybody who wants to use it or needs it, but it doesn't chase. It stands there strong and tall, And those that are attracted to it or need its services, they do it. And that's what you are. You're right now, you're a lighthouse of light and a lighthouse of life. And this is, I had no idea where this podcast was going today, to be honest with you, right? I had no idea. And it couldn't have gone any better. Like this is beautiful. And there's nothing like finding a person who has tapped into their soul and their spirit and tuned it in such a way as you have. Like that's the truth. Like that's where I'm getting this. And what you're saying, I hope everybody hears. And I'm going to tell you, Erin, one of the first people I'm going to contact and let know about this podcast is Bob Burke, my friend in Jupiter, Florida, and let him know what he has inspired here. And
He knows we are connected. He knows because after I published my book, which actually I think I gave you a shout out in my book, believe it or not. But I gave him a shout out and I went to his website and I put in a form. He's the real deal, as are you. I put in
he is the real deal.
put some information in a form and I wasn't expecting a response. I get a response the next day with his mailing address. I send him a copy of the book. And a few weeks go by and I get a handwritten note in the mail from him. And then he posts an excerpt from my book on his social media and tags me. And this is in 2016. And I was just so blown away. So when I later in 2018 started the podcast, I eventually mustered up the courage to invite him on the show. Of course, he says yes. So just this morning, I posted on my Instagram this idea that our nervous system became conditioned to seek approval and validation. But in essence, it's when we abandon all of that and stop trying to fit the mold and be more of who we already are, that lighthouse, right? And I quoted Bob, or I mentioned the go-giver in my post this morning, and he's already responded and he's DMing me. And I'm like, because I can't stop. I can't stop sharing. I'm so glad you're going to come on my podcast. I have talked about your books.
I'm scared. I'm scared to come on your podcast. No, it cannot go as well as this one has. Like I'm scared. Like I'm intimidated.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. So yeah, it's funny because it's a small world. And I also think it's important for the listeners to know that all of us, there's no looking at somebody who's achieved some level of external success or who's living some kind of life that we think we want for ourselves that doesn't have their scars and their battle wounds. And so I think sometimes, especially in the world of social media, it's easy to look at the way people present online and think like it must be easy for them and I'm here to tell you that, getting my credit card declined was just one of the times I face planted in the journey, right? And the best thing is don't be afraid to reach out to people who've made an impact on your life because every single one of us is a sincere human being. We wouldn't have put all this content into the world if we didn't believe so strongly in it. And I love getting the opportunity to meet you and to have met Bob and to continue to turn, inspiration into a conversation, into a relationship, because there's so much magic that happens in the conversation and it's the unscripted that ripples out from here. So I love hearing from people. If someone's gotten a takeaway, DM me on Instagram at Pursuing Freedom Official or find me on LinkedIn and connect. Like it's my favorite thing to get off of social media and just build relationships and find ways to connect you to the resources you need and just keep doing what I've always done. It's just, this is the energizer for me. I mean, this is a blast for me. I love this.
That's awesome. And so, all right. So do they get do you have pursuingfreedom.com?
Yes, pursuingfreedom.com. And I also have a free giveaway, which here's the thing. I'm more interested in your happiness and fulfillment than I am in your quote unquote success, because I define success as unlimited present moments with the people I care about most, personally and professionally. The ability to be with any of my loved ones at the moment they need me because I can afford to say yes to life in whatever capacity I feel called to. And that's what I want for everybody else. I think we all think we're after success and then someday we're going to get there and we're going to give ourselves permission to feel free. And I know now that it's the other way around. It's accessing the feelings of contentment and peace and gratitude and connection and engagement, and that's fulfillment. And when you're fulfilled, you're unstoppable. When you're fulfilled and you're whole as you already are, everything that follows is inspired action. It's not so that you have an agenda behind it so you can get something so you can feel good. You get to feel good now, and it changes everything. And I hope more people will prioritize how good they feel in 2026 and watch how it affects the impact they have on their community, and watch how it affects their financial success, which is just one piece of the puzzle.
Wow. Like, that's all I got to say about that. Like, wow. Just so real, so beautiful. I hope everybody here goes to pursuingfreedom.com. I hope they get your book. I hope they listen to your podcast. They might even listen to the one with me on it. I warned them about that one, but I'm just telling you, Erin, so much here. I mean, the whole thought around the I wish I could, filling in the blank, and maybe, and it, like, not fighting the but that comes after, knowing the but is coming, like, I wish I could blank but, and then realizing that's the fear. And then of how you move us along to the I wonder if, and then all of a sudden that starts the plan for success. Like, I love it all. I mean, honestly, what clicked in my head was Napoleon Hill. Literally, I heard him saying, like, what you can conceive and believe, you can achieve. And that was like, you have modernized that, and you have created a system to help people move along that process towards success. And I just love all this. We're going to have you on again. Can we have you on again later in the year and just talk?
Yes, please.
I don't even know
Yeah,
what about, but I just want to feel your energy. I just want to bask in your warmth. I want to shine in your light, right? That's where I'm at.
I love that. Well, yeah. And for those listening, if you could drop in the show notes, just go to pursuingfreedom.com/happiness. And there's a free assessment there. And if you're not feeling like, hey, I'm loving this, it's really small shifts that change your life and business in a transformational way. And I've watched people, they've been selling real estate or doing loans for 10, 20, 30 years. They can do it with their eyes closed. And there's just something missing. They're like, I don't even know if I still want to do this business. I just feel like I know what I need to do, but I don't feel like it. That's like, you're just a little bored. You're a little burned out. Like a few little tweaks to reinvigorate why you're doing it and make it interesting again. And you can completely have the most fun again, and maybe for the first time, but it can be fun. And when it is, it's just game over. It's like game over. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Yep. You win. Game
So,
over.
yeah.
I love it.
Anyway, I look forward
Erin,
to having you on my show, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. This has been fantastic, and I just appreciate you so much for being our guest here today, and just dropping so much wisdom and content and love and light, and just thank you so much for being our guest today. I really, really appreciate you.
It's been an honor for me, so thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I told you. Did I not tell you in the beginning that this was going to be an amazing podcast? I fulfill my promises, if nothing else. And I will tell you, this was an amazing podcast. I so appreciate this. And I'm telling you, I would be remiss if I didn't invite you to join GenGen, joingengen.com. Join the Generosity Generation, our community, our tribe of trust of high energy people. Yes, there are no naysayers in there. You're not going to hear any complaints. You're not going to hear anybody venting. You're going to have some people who are like, hey, I've got an issue or a challenge. Can I get some help? And then you see 100 people helping this person. That is what the Generosity Generation's about. Join gengen.com. We'd love to have you. And also, don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button and let us know, because I'm telling you, the year of the sphere continues next week. I already know who that guest is. It's going to blow you away again. We're rocking right out of the chute here in 2026 with the year of the sphere. I'm so excited about the rest of this year. I'm excited about you, and we're on the road to 1 million downloads here on the Referrals Podcast. Thank you, everyone. I love you. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time on the Referrals Podcast.